ASUS sells the TUF series of gaming laptops on a very specific promise: ruggedness. Consumers pay a $1,500 premium for a machine branded around military-grade durability and long-term endurance. Search independent repair channels on YouTube, and you'll find a recurring pattern that contradicts that marketing. Technicians are documenting a massive wave of these exact machines suffering sudden, complete failures. For the person using it, the symptoms are terrifying. The screen goes black, the machine refuses to turn on, the battery won't take a charge. It behaves exactly as if the entire internal system has been destroyed. While the external signs point to a total system failure, the actual hardware remains largely intact. This appearance of destruction is a symptom of a much smaller internal disconnect. The physical root cause traces back to the laptop's thermal design. When you run standard gaming loads for hours at a time, the internal cooling struggles to keep up, trapping heat inside the chassis. This trapped, sustained heat leads to thermal degradation. Over time, it slowly cooks the passive motherboard components, eventually causing them to warp, blister, and fracture. Look at this top-down motherboard schematic. Hundreds of data pathways usually flow without an issue, but in these ASUS models, a ceramic capacitor cracks under the heat, instantly stopping all electricity. To understand the absurdity, look at the scale. That single cracked capacitor costs 5 cents, yet its failure disables a $1,500 machine. This is a predictable engineering vulnerability. The lifespan of a premium machine is entirely dictated by its absolute cheapest part. Take this dead machine to an independent repair technician, and the fix is straightforward. Using basic diagnostic tools and a standard soldering iron, they simply pluck the shorted capacitor off the board and replace it. The entire computer boots up perfectly in under 10 minutes. But if you look at the official ASUS authorized repair manual, you will find a radically different protocol for this exact same symptom. Official corporate policy strictly prohibits authorized technicians from performing component-level diagnosis. They aren't fixing the short circuit. They must throw the entire motherboard in the trash. This policy defies logic. It is the exact equivalent of demolishing an entire city block simply because a single light bulb burned out in one house. To see why this is so devastating for the consumer, we have to look at this simplified diagram of modern gaming laptop architecture. You have the 5-cent capacitor alongside the massive CPU and GPU chips. Notice that the processor and graphics card are locked to the board with thick, permanent solder joints. The CPU and GPU are the two most expensive components in any gaming laptop. Together, they easily account for 70% of the machine's total retail value. When corporate policy dictates that the motherboard must be thrown away to fix a 5-cent fuse, ASUS is forcing the consumer to repurchase a perfectly functional CPU and GPU. An identical new board takes its place, generating a massive invoice. This replace, don't repair architecture turns a cheap fix into a multi-thousand-dollar ransom. For any out-of-warranty user, it effectively totals the machine. Even if you decide to play by their rules, relying on an extended warranty or agreeing to pay the exorbitant ransom, the reality of the official support network is grim. Authorized field service engineers frequently arrive at customers' homes completely unprepared. There are documented cases of technicians attempting high-end motherboard swaps without even bringing basic thermal paste to reinstall the cooling system. When the repair fails or gets delayed, consumers are trapped in an administrative maze. The manufacturer and the third-party retailers blindly shift blame to one another, bouncing the customer through endless support loops. You submit to their financial demands, expecting a safety net. Instead, you enter a broken, incompetent gridlock that leaves you stranded for months without your primary workstation. Frustrated by the delays and the massive costs, many consumers abandon the repair loop entirely. They take a completely salvageable laptop and throw it straight into the trash. This individual decision repeats thousands of times, feeding directly into a macro consequence. This overwhelming pile of e-waste is the physical result of policies that deliberately force the premature disposal of repairable hardware. This business model forces a specific relationship with the hardware you buy. Ownership becomes contingent on the manufacturer's willingness to let you fix a failure, effectively treating a $1,000 purchase as a temporary asset with an unknown expiration date. The only way to break this cycle of cheap components, unrepairable designs, and negligent service is to actively support the independent technicians who actually fix things and to demand universal right-to-repair laws.